Front and center at the anti-NATO protests in Chicago on Sunday, veterans of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan who are now vocal critics of those conflicts. One of the key topics being discussed by NATO leaders is in fact the ongoing war in Afghanistan and how long coalition forces will stay there. Scores of vets led the procession towards the convention center where the NATO summit was underway.
No NATO, no war! We don't work for you no more!
Some of them have finished their tours of duty, while others, like Chris May from Asheville, North Carolina, is a conscientious objector. As they made their way through the city streets, the vets continued to wave banners, hold signs, and call for an end to the war. The vets are among thousands of people who turned up here today from all walks of life to express their opposition to NATO. Officials had estimated 10 to 20,000, while CAM G8, the organizers of today's activities, had called for 50,000. Earlier in the day, protesters converged on another Chicago park for a 2-hour rally that included singing and speeches. Among those taking part were members of Occupy Chicago and National Nurses United, as well as various international peace and activist groups, including Code Pink.
We're here to say that we don't agree with the agenda that's being put forward of more war and a coalition that sees the world through a military lens. We want coalitions to come together to think about how we're going to end poverty, how we're going to end global warming, how we're going to meet people's human needs, and not how to make more war.
Also in attendance was civil rights leader, the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Various perspectives of life are searching for alternatives to war. Wars are increasing and yet we're less secure. The budget's rising and yet we are more poverty-stricken. We've misadventured into Iraq. About $3 trillion estimated cost was the wrong target. For that, we not even apologize.
When the march was over, the vets held a ceremony, telling their stories and symbolically returning their medals.
We were told that these medals represented, democracy and justice and hope and change for the world. These medals represent a failure on behalf of the leaders of NATO to accurately represent the will of their own people. It represents a failure on the leaders of NATO to do what's right by the disenfranchised people of this world. Instead of helping them, they take advantage of them, and they're making things worse. I will not be a part of that anymore. These medals don't mean anything to me, and they can have them back.
The situation became increasingly intense when a group of anarchists made their way to the police cordon blocking the road to NATO. Scuffles broke out before city and state reinforcements arrived. Eventually, the anarchists were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. In the end, fears that this summit could see the kind of bloody clashes that took place during the anti-Vietnam War protests at the Democratic National Convention here in 1968 proved to be unfounded. Lisa Barron, MintPress News, Chicago.